to. It's up to you. Sure. Madam Chair, the only question I have before I do that is, I think the first item on the agenda is case number OCC 119-2025. I wasn't sure where we were, if you had already referenced that or not. That's the item that we are on.
I don't believe I did.
Okay. Assuming that's the matter that you're calling, item number 2 on the agenda, that's the application for a conditional use permit. The applicants in that matter, that matter was filed by Mariah Cartwright. Is she here? I figured, thank you. Okay, so in that matter, let's see. The procedure for that hearing will be the following. First, Mr. Dan Brandewy, he will present his staff report. Then the applicant can make their case to the board, and if there's any other supporting testimony, we'll do that. Following that, if there's anybody who opposes that matter, they can also come forward and make a presentation to the board. Then we'll hear if there are any other comments from anyone or any, and then the applicant will have the opportunity to rebut. And then at that time, upon receiving all of the evidence, the board will act to close that portion of the meeting and go into deliberation. And after that, they will issue their decision. So with that all being said, if you wish to testify, please stand and raise your right hand. Ms. Cartwright, if you could stand and raise your right hand. That's okay, you've got a lot going on. Do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that the responses given and the statements made will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay, thank you. Mr. Brandewy.
Good evening, board members. We have 2 cases tonight. First case is case number OCC number 119-2025. It's an application for a conditional use permit in an R2 zoning district to operate a licensed family daycare provider home at 809 South 8th Street in accordance with section 230-41F of the zoning code. It's further identified as Lot 1, Parcel 1328, filed by Mariah Cartwright. So the applicant is seeking to apply for a conditional use as authorized by the Board of Zoning Appeals to operate a family daycare provider home. It would operate from a single-family dwelling located 809 8th Street. The applicant's dwelling is shown as Exhibit 1, and I had photographs to pass around to circulate. Exhibit 1 is a street view of the house. Exhibit 2 is an aerial photograph. Thank you. The dwelling is located to one other single-family dwelling to the north along 8th Street. It's a railroad to the west, a stormwater pond to the south, and is across from the Pocomoke Middle School. The standards for a family daycare home require that the applicant must obtain appropriate state licenses and a city business license. The owner will be installing a fence in the rear yard to comply with the standards. The house is set back more than 10 feet to the adjacent home. So the Board of Zoning Appeals may approve a conditional use application under its authority established by the Chapter 230, Section 230-107 through 230-109. And those are shown as Exhibit 3. Staff endorses the request with the stipulation that the applicant apply for a fence permit, install the fence, and provide proof of compliance with state license requirements, and apply for a business license. And Ms. Cartwright said she is in the middle of that application process with the state. So on page 2 simply shows the conditional use standards for a family daycare provider home. Exhibit 3 essentially reviews some of the standards the board should consider when granting applications for conditional use. I've highlighted, underlined some of the specific references that you may want to consider. I did notify the adjacent property owner to the north, and she had no objections to the application. We haven't received any other negative or positive comments either way beyond that. So that concludes my staff report.
And then Mr. Brandewie, are you moving to admit your staff report as an exhibit?
Yes.
Just accept it as an exhibit 1.
Oh, I accept that as exhibit 1. Ms. Cartwright, would you like to come up to the podium? Sure. Can you state your name and your address for the record, please?
My name is Mariah Cartwright, and my address is 809 8th Street, Pocomoke City, Maryland.
Could you tell us why you're applying for this? I know it's for daycare.
I believe there's a great need in this town that we need childcare. I don't know of too many daycares around this area. A lot of people have to travel outside of town to for childcare, and sometimes it's more than 20, 30 minutes for that, and traveling to their job. So I think that's a lot, and I think we could be a good help in this town for childcare.
Are there any other questions?
I don't think I have any questions.
I would just make sure you are in agreement and understand the stipulations as far as applying for offense permit and then providing proof of compliance with the state license requirements and a business license. Has that been explained to you, and do you understand that those might be stipulations?
Yes, I do understand that. We hold our business license through the state of Maryland. We're currently waiting for the city of Pocomoke per this meeting, and then after this meeting, if everything goes well, we will gain our license for the Office of Child Care. So that will conclude it, and then we will move forward with that.
To make sure she understood that part of it.
Okay. Did you have any questions for us?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I say this to conclude?
Well, you should ask if there's anyone who wants to address the board on this matter. I'm not sure that there is, so just.
Are there anybody that would like to address the board? Please let the record show nobody. 1 and 2.
Okay, so if there's a motion to close the public hearing portion.
Anybody want to?
So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing portion.
I second that motion.
Third.
There. Unanimous. My name's Tommy.
Marcus Collins.
So now we need to discuss why.
So, yeah, you would discuss, and then once you, if you need to go that far, yes, but you can discuss if you need to and call for a motion and.
But we need to say why we approve it or why we decline it.
If it just depends on what the motion is and what you want to do.
Okay.
On page 1 of the staff report, under background, last paragraph, you'll see where Mr. Brandewie says that the staff endorses the request with stipulations, if that's helpful.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't see any troubles with it either, provided they get the license and the fence.
We're well aware of what needs to be done. And compliance, and there is a need for childcare in this area, so I don't see any issue with it.
So I'm going to make the motion
You could, anyone could, however you want to do it.
Make the motion to approve.
I, Marcus Collins, make the motion to approve the daycare center.
I second that.
I was gonna
Oh, sorry.
just hop in to say, maybe we make the motion to approve it with stipulation that they get a fence and have the permits.
Yes.
Okay, so Tommy,
So-
move
so
to,
this- Yeah, go ahead.
move to approve it with the stipulation that they get the fence permit, install a fence, and provide compliant, or proof of compliance with state licenses and city license.
Is there a second to that?
I second that motion.
I third.
All in favor, right?
All in favor?
All in favor.
Aye.
And Mr. Collins, you're withdrawing your motion, since the one that was voted on.
Yes, Tom.
All right.
Okay, so Joe Larson, it's been approved.
You can say whatever you want, whatever you want. I think we're moving on from, that public hearing into number 3 on the agenda.
Okay, so we are now moving on to item 3, variance 120-2025. The application for variance to install a 6-foot privacy fence within the front yard setbacks in the R2 zone district on corner lot located at 15
You're welcome to stay.
Cedar
You don't
Run
have to
in
stay if you don't
accordance
want to.
with section 230-99E, filed by Daniel Rumen. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his last name. Ramirez. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, so
Mr. Brady, will you,
I don't know if you have to swear anybody in on this one.
I will, I'll do that. Anyone who's going to testify for this agenda item, if you could stand and raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that the responses given and statements made will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Yes. All right, thank you.
Daniel Brandoui, Planning Director for the record. The applicant is seeking to install a 6-foot privacy fence located in a front yard setback of a corner lot located at 1514 Cedar Run in the Cedar Point subdivision. The applicant's corner lot has 2 front yard setbacks of 30 feet fronting both Cedar Run and Holiday Drive. Section 230-99 would limit the height of such a fence to no higher than 30 inches in height for a corner lot. This section reads as follows. Under fences, walls, and hedges may be located in required yards or courts subject to the limitation in Article 4 and the following. Fences, walls, or hedges not exceeding at any point 4 feet in height above the elevation of the ground at such point may be located in any yard or court except on a corner lot. No such fence, wall, or hedge may be located in the front yard exceeding 2.5 feet in height above the elevation of the ground. The applicant is requesting this on the basis of privacy and safety. He has submitted a narrative and has signatures from 4 neighboring property owners not objecting to the fence. Staff notes there's a similar situation with a 6-foot fence within a front yard setback on a corner lot located across the street at 1511 Cedar Street. There are at least a couple of examples in the city where we have similar situations, but we don't have necessarily documentation on whether they went through the Board of Zoning Appeals in recent times. They may have gone back through the board in several years past, which I don't have the records for at this point. The board is obligated to consider variances as noted in section 230-207 and 230-208 of the zoning code as follows. So in the next page and page 2 and 3, I took the liberty of highlighting in bold some of the aspects that you should and could consider in looking at this variance situation. As I put in the staff report, attachment 1 is his narrative statement. He included an aerial view of the photograph with the fence shown in a black marker. He shows an example of a 6-foot white vinyl fence as part of that page. Attachment 2 shows the site plan that was issued for the property when it was first constructed, and it does show the front yard setback. It takes up a great deal of the property. If you'll notice on that attachment 2, almost half of the property is in a front yard setback, leaving very little backyard space behind the house. Attachment 3 is the signatures from the neighboring property owners that do not mind the fence. Attachment 4 was a street view looking toward the corner, taken a couple of days ago. It does have a partial sidewalk, so the fence essentially would be placed right behind the sidewalk area, extending up to the rear point of the house and then cutting over to the corner of the house. So that concludes my, and attachment 5 is the fence across the street showing a similar situation. That concludes my staff report. Be happy to answer any questions.
We'll accept the staff report as
We'll
exhibit.
accept your staff report. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to?
My name is Lee Daniels. I live at 7004 Gordy Road, Pocomoke City, Maryland. I don't live in Daniels' neighborhood. I'm his father-in-law, so I'm just here representing him because he's out of town. So my only interest would be, as father-in-law, is the safety of my grandkids. So I'm in favor of it and just here to show support for Daniel.
Okay. Anybody? Have any questions? Thank you. This concludes the public hearing of the meeting.
No.
Do I need to do a motion for that?
So then Tommy will make a motion to include the public portion and begin discussion.
Second that motion.
All right, sir. Do you have any issues?
I don't think that I do. I mean, it says that he's doing it for safety and privacy, and that seems to fall in line with making sure that people can safely enjoy the use of their space. And it is in line with other stuff that's around it.
There's another home.
There's another one right across the street that has something similar.
6-foot privacy
Yeah,
fence.
6-foot privacy fence.
Oh, no, it's Cedar Street, that's, on the corner from it.
Additionally, the neighbors don't have any problem with it, so I don't think that it's causing a problem for anybody around there.
Did you have any issues or? No? Okay.
I think what we should do, what the board should do to make sure that this is comporting with the zoning code is if you look on page 2 of Mr. Brandy's staff report, he cites the code where the board is required to find that certain conditions exist. So, you know, those conditions could very well be met, but I think the board should go through A, B, and C and just have a discussion on each one of those points and just make sure that the board is making those findings.
Okay.
Well, as we go through A, B, and C, I mean, I'll just jump right to B, where it says that a variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property rights, and they said that they've had people walking through the yard and the narrative that they provided, so having a fence would allow them to preserve enjoyment. C, having such a variance would not impact the, would not, substantial detriment of adjacent property. They had adjacent property signed to say that they were okay with it. That's how I would take it.
Okay. Okay, I mean, it's however you guys want to handle this is.
I make the motion to approve. And I believe we need to go to, I need to make a motion to approve that, right?
You could just do a motion to approve the variance if that's how you want to handle that. And then what I'm doing is I'm authoring a report that you'll sign, and I'll write in the report what you did discuss, and then assuming that's what your motion is, you'll endorse that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I make a motion to grant the variance for the 6-foot privacy fence on
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Please let the record show.
All in favor?
All in favor?
We're gonna now move to item 4, approval of the minutes to be provided. Do you have the minutes?
I don't have the minutes.
I emailed them to you.
For where the zoning appeal? My apologies, I don't have the copies available at the moment. I'll mail them out, review them for the next meeting.
I suppose I looked over them before I came. Didn't have a problem with them. I think the question was asked about who had made one motion, and there was a motion to correct the spelling of my name, and I think I made that motion, so. Other than that, I didn't have any problem. Do what? I think you asked who made the motion. I think I made the motion to correct the spelling of my name.
So we need to table that for the next meeting?
I'm not sure, I'm kind of confused right now. So there are no minutes right now that they can approve of? Right, okay.
So it will be tabled until.
The next
the
meeting?
next meeting.
Okay, yes.
So, do I need to make a motion?
And you can just move on to public comment if there is any.
Is there any public comment? Please let the record show nobody wanted to comment. Can I make a motion to conclude the meeting?
You or anybody that's up here, Ken, besides me?
I'll conclude.
Tom, you'll make a motion to conclude the meeting.
I second that. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.